Hey everyone, in front of the camera here, I have the new for 2018 Kershaw Atmos. It's model number 4037. This is an overseas produced knife for Kershaw, being manufactured in China, and it has HCR13 MOV steel, G10 handles with a carbon fiber inlay. It is a liner lock and is designed by Sinkevich. So let's take a look closer at this knife. I think this is a great knife for 2018, coming in around $30. And for $30, what you're getting, I think, is well worth the money. So let's take a look closer here. So again, this has KVT ball bearing system versus what Kershaw typically uses for overseas produced knives, which is the speed safe system, which is a torsion bar underneath the handle. So it's kind of a spring assist in a sense. So this uses the KVT ball bearing system, which means that you have a smoother action and you don't have to overcome the torsion bar or the spring tension to close the knife. So this does kind of drop free. Not as nice as the KVT system in like a zero tolerance 0450 here, where if you disengage this, I mean, this is much smoother, but this is much more expensive. So let's take a look here. When we look at the pivot, we still have the ability to adjust this pivot with a Torx driver, but it is kind of decorative, so that's a nice feature, especially at this price. And that's carries over to the locking side here as well. So G10 handles with a carbon fiber inlay. Of course, at this price point, you're not going to get full carbon fiber, so it's that really thin layer of carbon fiber along with the G10 handles. And the G10 on here is very similar to, if you look at the Kershaw Fraction from 2017. So it's not, you know, as high quality G10 as you get in the zero tolerance or other American made knives, but it is still nice and it cuts down on the weight versus using stainless steel frame locks or, you know, stainless steel show size on the knife, which, you know, end up increasing the weight dramatically. So again, we have a reversible tip up right or left hand side carry pocket clip, and this is actually a nice deep riding pocket clip. This is what came with the knife. On the Fraction here for 2017, this is actually a pocket clip I took off of another Kershaw, because the original one that came with the Fraction was not deep carry. Speaking of swapping the pocket clip, if you notice here, there are two screws on the right hand side. There's actually a little plastic insert that also goes along with that. And keep in mind, these screws, even though they're on the opposite side and they're not being used to secure the pocket clip, right now they're only securing that plastic insert. They are also important to keep in there, because if you look at the construction here, the pocket clip screw and the screw on the opposite side that you don't have the clip on are actually being used to help secure the handle to the back spacer there. The back spacer is seems like a plastic. I don't think it's G10. It's got a little bit of texture on there, so you don't have a flow through design. You have a little small lanyard hole if you decide you want to put a lanyard through there. Some 550 cord. I don't think you really need to with this. This is a small, nice, kind of classy everyday carry knife with the carbon fiber. It looks nice. I mean, this isn't the best carbon fiber in the world, and of course you're not getting full carbon fiber at this price, but I think it looks nice, and I like that Kershaw is putting some extra attention to detail in these budget knives, considering the competition. So the G10, like I said, is not as nice as, you know, G10 on an American made zero tolerance. It's also not as finished as well. So even though these are not overly sharp here, Yeah, it's not radius as nice as you would in a more expensive knife, but again, that's given. Liner lock. There you go. And so there's no liner on the opposite side here, which definitely saves on weight. You only have a steel liner on the locking side. And that being said, let's take a look at the weight. So that's really what helps keep this down in weight. So 1.94 compared to the 2017 fraction, which is very similar in size, 1.97. So both of these are very light. 0450, which is a bit longer of a blade, but titanium frame lock, G10 show side, 2.43. So yeah, this is a very light knife. It's a nice 3-inch blade, if I didn't mention that already. Hollow ground out of HCR 13 MOV. You look at this, you definitely, when you look at this, definitely screams Dmitry Sinkevich. You know, give another design here to 0450 from Zero Tolerance. Very similar in design there. I'm not sure if the Atmos is based on one of his customs or not, but Dmitry Sinkevich has been designing for quite a while now with Kershaw and Zero Tolerance. I like this pocket clip because it's deep carry. The Kershaw logo I could do without, honestly, but that's just what they do. Deployment is really good, real smooth. The detent is not overly stiff on this. On the fraction, I would say it's a little bit more difficult to overcome that detent on the fraction. This also has KVT. This is a little bit easier to overcome on the Atmos. And again, left-handed it's a little bit more difficult to disengage at liner lock, but right-handed, I mean, you got, well, make sure I don't hit the desk. You have a free dropper, so that's real nice for that $30 price range. Yeah, I mean, this is impressive. I mean, going over the 2018, you know, Kershaw lineup here, there's not a lot I'm too excited about. Besides this one, the only other two Kershaws that I will probably even consider buying are the Kershaw Bare Knuckle, which is a USA produced Kershaw. That's also on KVT. It has that 14C 28N Sinkevich steel that they used to use on blurs, aluminum handles. So I will probably go for that. And the only other thing would probably be the copper Natrix, and that's I'm interested in the copper handles, and also it has KVT and D2 steel. That's also going to be produced out of China. Other than that, a lot of their lineup didn't seem to be that interesting this year. But the Kershaw Atmos, I think, if you're looking for, you know, and I don't know if I mentioned that either, this is a hollow ground, not flat ground blade. But nice 3-inch drop point style blade. A little bit of jimping here at the top. This is a great EDC, and if you're into budget knives, this is kind of a, you know, more classy budget knife. And because of that really lightweight, because of how lightweight it is, I mean, it's you're not going to notice when carrying it. Deep carry clip is going to keep it discreet. Yeah, I think this was real well done by Kershaw. Kershaw Atmos. Give you an example. Kershaw did try, I don't remember how many years ago, doing a collaboration with Dmitry Sinkevich with KVT. This is the Nura. This is a 3.5, larger Nura. So this had KVT, but it was heavier because he had stainless steel handles. Again, you can tell this is Dmitry Sinkevich design, but typically these detents were not dialed in as well. As you can tell, if you try to deploy this, I mean, sometimes it barely overcomes the detent and it doesn't actually lock up. And sometimes, if you know, it's more technique driven, I guess. and I can get it to deploy and lock up, but you definitely have to that's more of like a push button. So I mean, this is not as reliable and this is much heavier. So they've tried this in the past with Dmitry Sinkevich and the KVT ball bearing knife, but this I think is a whole lot better, and I think will sell well for Kershaw this year, competing with a lot of the budget knives that are out there right now. So yeah, if you're interested in a nice small EDC size budget knife from Kershaw, you know, with a little bit of extra, I don't know, a little bit of extra with the carbon fiber there, next extra look. Yeah, check out the Kershaw Atmos. Definitely recommended. Besides swapping the pocket clip over to the left hand side for this, I didn't need to make any adjustments to get that action tuned in the way it is, and there's no play in that lockup. So there it is, Kershaw Atmos, new for 2018. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and as always, thanks for watching.